Hey there, this is Holly with National Fast Pitch Academy, and this is a continuation of breaking down the top 5 home run hitters of 2019 in NCAA Division I softball. This is the hitter is Bailey Hemphill, and she was a 2020 senior at the University of Alabama. She had 26 home runs for the year, which was tied for second of the most for the season. For the 2019 season in 70 games, she also had 84 RBIs, which is outstanding. And another thing that stood out, stood out quite a bit was she had 59 walks. She walked 59 times. That's a crazy number of walks. And so if you look at her 2020 stats, we'll talk about here in a second, you're going to see some pretty impressive numbers. But with the walks to the strikeouts, she had 59 walks, 19 strikeouts with a 375 batting average and 26 home runs. So an amazing year, 2019 for Bailey. So in 2020, as I said, we're not sure. I'm not sure yet. I guess I'll find out soon what they're going to do with these statistics. And she already played. It looks like 22 games, already had, 55 or 50 at bats. Now she's had a slow start. She hit her first home run against Washington, which is this home run that we're going to talk about. And that's the only home run she had for the 2020 season with the first 50 at bats. It looks like she had a little bit of a slow start last year on the home run numbers, but not quite this slow. She's hitting 280, but she's already got 24 walks as well in 22 games. So she's still walking a lot, and she has only struck out 4 times. So sometimes when hitters get to the point where they are very, very conscious of not striking out, they get a little bit more contact oriented, and maybe that's what's going on there. Maybe I would have to see her for a course of a number of games, number of bats to see. But she's got an amazing swing, and we're going to look at her swing here. This is again the Alabama playing Washington. Washington at the time was ranked number 1 in the country. Alabama number 9. This, of course, is the bottom of the 3rd inning. This was at the St. Pete Clearwater Invitational. That's been crazy, amazing every year. I look forward to it every year now. It's pretty cool. So, like always, going to break down her stance. You can see, again, pretty bent, pretty athletic, very basic. Looks like, looks like her feet are pretty much straight up and down. Not open, not closed, pretty much straight up at this point. Now from here, looks like it's early. The pitcher hasn't started doing anything. Looks like early. She's her hands are starting pretty far forward, but we'll see what happens as we move along here. All right, so we go from stance to the load. We're going to see what kind of load she has. All right, so as the pitcher is starting to go, she hadn't started her load yet, which is kind of late, but she's super compact and super quick. All right, now she's getting her load after the release pretty much, and she gets there super quick. Her hands are amazing fast. So you can see that. Let's see, release. She hadn't started. She's kind of starting a little bit of her load. If you can look at her foot right here, she's getting up on her heel. Doesn't have much at all. She just kind of heel down, heel up, down. She doesn't stride at all. And then she comes to contact. So we're going to look at that a little bit. So we can see that she doesn't do a whole lot. Her load is not a lot of movement, so she doesn't have a lot of margin for error. Her margin for error is large because she doesn't have a lot of moving parts, so it's good. Looks like the pitch is kind of down in a way, just a little bit, maybe more in the center, down and maybe a little bit in the middle of the plate. But she is on it. You can see her vision is on it really good. Now, what we're going to do is kind of look at, so you can see the flight of the pitch, flight of the ball here. This is a great example of staying through it as well. All 3 hitters I've broken down so far have showed really great examples staying through it. Now, You can see we're going to go back. You can see kind of the blur where the bat is. That's her elbow. Looks like that's her elbow. So you can see that she's coming right to the ball. And then you can see the flight of the ball is going upward. She hits this ball pretty good over left center field fence, I guess. But I want you to see, as I'm talking about all the time here, is she's making kind of contact like about right there. So we'll kind of make a contact, looks like about right there. So, and the ball is obviously going in an upward path this way. So we're going to see is, watch the bat. All right, so the bat actually right after contact is still coming forward. And for the young hitters I work with, from some coaches of young hitters, this is, I'm continue to talk about, you got bat path, which is the attack angle, which looks like it's pretty good coming straight through the ball. It's not lifting very much at all from this angle. We'll see from the side angle. And the flight of the ball is upward. And you can see the flight there. And she's starting to roll over at this point and stayed on it quite a bit. So very, very good looking swing. All right, so let's go forward. You can see she hits that ball pretty good. Looks like, what is that? Over the B, almost straight center. Right, there's the ball. So hits that ball right over the B of Beaches. Okay, and go forward a little bit. All right, so this angle is another angle here. They do a slow motion version of this. So it gives it a little bit of slower motion, lifts the heel. And okay, yeah, you can see pretty much the same thing. The flight of the bat that she hits after contact is more through it, and the flight of the ball is got that lift. And you can see she hasn't rolled over there at all. She stays through that very, very well. Now she's starting to roll over just a little bit. Yeah, right there. Okay, so I think they've got a side view here of her swing, which is really good. As I said, you could tell, you can tell from the front view that she kind of starts with her hands kind of forward a little bit. So if you start with your hands forward, you got to get your hands back quite a bit from there. But we're going to kind of go forward. She kind of rocks back a little bit with her weight. Her weight goes back. Now she actually starts, I would say, her weight is, if you go take her like weights like right down the middle there is pretty much, I guess, more in this range here. Her weight is kind of more 50-50. Probably a lot of hitters are going to see with some power have 60-40. Her bat path and her strength and her quickness and her consistency and her simpleness of her swing are all her strengths here. So she doesn't get back very far, but she's got your weight transfer, obviously heels up, so the weight is shifted to the back. Her hands hasn't done much, so her weight is shifted back, but her hands are still not back yet. Okay, and as she's starting to go, looks like forward, and I kind of call this like a secondary load, and this is really for advanced hitters, and you'll see this if you watch her hands right here. We're going to get after her stride. So her launch position is about right here. And honestly, I would probably like to see her hands back just a little bit farther. And in ideal situations, her weight is said, as I said, is pretty much in the middle. So she's losing a few percentage here and a few percentage here, maybe not that much. A potential power, not necessarily. Again, she hit 26 home runs in 2019, not like she doesn't have any power. Clearly, she's got plenty of power here. And but I would say she's back good. If you look at the height, we talk about the height. She starts pretty low, which is really good. And her height, her hands are outstanding. So everything looks good there. And then you see that hand, she kind of walks away, what we call walking away from the hands, that second load. So by the time she starts, you can see now the hands are back. The weight is kind of walking away, is moving away from the hands instead of hands getting back. Not necessarily ideal, but they both work pretty good, and it's working for her fine. Okay, and then come into contact. You can see, now this pitch is down a little bit. You can see it's the flight of the ball is going down somewhat at that point, which a lot of balls, as I say all the time, if it's below the waist, it's got a pretty good chance that it's going to be going downward. If it's above the waist, got a pretty good chance it's going to be either level or go up a little bit. And she is still above the flight of the ball. And great. There's contact right there. And you can see that looks like it's contact about right there. And she hits this pretty much center to left of center. So she didn't get way out in front, but she's out pretty far. I would say that pitch is from this angle, obviously from there, it's if you were looking from the other side, it would be at least in front of the toe. So she's getting that thing out in front pretty good. All right, there's the contact. Head is on it. Everything looks really, really good. You got the V. Talk about the V a lot in this point where she's in kind of a V contact right there. That's where you're going to be stronger. Her weight is transferred forward. There's no weight there. So all looks good there. And here's the part, the through part. All right. You can see the bat, or you can see, excuse me, the flight of the ball is this way. And you can see the bat is still going forward through the flight. That's the pure definition of staying through the ball. The other hitters, you look at them and they're doing the same thing, and the flight of the ball is lifting. So this is the part, again, we're talking about the yellow line is the pitch flight. It looks like we'll go like, red. Looks like it's pretty close to her flight of her bat in this area. That's staying through the pitch flight pretty good. And then she's getting the bottom third, bottom a little bit below middle to get the backspin, to get the lift, and to get the home run, and she stays through it at this point. So the yellow line is the pitch flight. Red line is the attack angle, which it looks like it's probably around somewhere between 5 to 10 is where I try to recommend people stay. And then we're going to look at the 24 degrees. I'd say that's an almost 20 to 30 is where you want to be. 25 is great. She gets a lot of this. And actually the angle here she gets, it shows how much backspin she gets because you can see where she hits the ball. Way, way out here. Let's see. Yeah, there it is right there. Hits over the end of the trees and hits it right there. So she clears it by a long way. So there's a lot of backspin on that. So you can see the bat path goes through there pretty good. Hits it. She's still through it. You can see it right here. And she gets a backspin. Her finish is super good. Outstanding swing. Some of the qualities that I've seen so far in all three, if they've stayed through the ball in both horizontal and vertical really, really well. It looks like they're getting ready really, really quick. Outstanding job on all three of them. Shows you why they've been very, very successful. Thank you. Got any questions? Let me know. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'm trying to do as many of these as I can a week. Hope you're having a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.